What's up guys, my name is Jordan from Freedom Team Trading, and in this video I'm going to show you the exact swing trading strategy I use as a full-time trader. So the main concept of my strategy involves supply and demand. Now if you don't know what that is, I have an entire free course going over exactly step-by-step what that is in the first link in the description. But for those of you that do know, stick around and I'll show you the exact confirmations I use with supply and demand for my strategy. Now, if you are someone who has a 9-to-5 job, you have a family, you have kids, you don't have a lot of time throughout the day, swing trading is perfect for you. It doesn't take up a lot of time. It's very set and forget type of trading, and you can do it almost anywhere from your phone. So I'm going to show you exactly how my swing trading strategy works and so how you can use it for yourself. Okay, so we're looking at the charts now. I'm going to show you guys exactly what my swing trading strategy is. So as I told you before, the basis is supply and demand. Now I can go over here and draw you a bunch of different demand zones, a bunch of different supply zones, but ultimately that is simply not going to work on its own. Okay, you need other confirmations, you need other things in play to have a strategy that actually works. Okay, now the first one that I'm going to go over with you is extremely simple, very easy to understand. This one is going to be trend. Okay, now if we look at this eBay chart right here, you can see at this point in time it's very clearly in an uptrend, right? You can see prices making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, and you can see throughout this process, if I draw my charts over here, prices coming right down to these demand zones. You can see price comes down, we have that drop, that base, and then that huge rally. Price comes right to the bottom of that demand zone and then ends up ripping right back to the highs. You can see this process keeps on repeating itself for every single low that comes into play. Now, with like every strategy, it's never going to work 100% of the time, and also price is not always going to come down to that demand zone. And that is simply okay, right? As a trader, your job is not to take every single bottom, buy every single dip. It's to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. And so when price comes down into a demand zone, that is an opportunity to buy. Now, like I said with trend, the most important part with trend is you really want to make sure you're only buying demand zones in an uptrend, and you're only shorting supply zones in a downtrend, right? If I show you this uptrend on eBay, right, I can show you a few other supply zones right here, another one right here. I can show you another one right around here. And you can see price just goes right through it. And the reasoning for that is that price is still in an uptrend, right? So it makes the most sense that you only want to be buying demand zones in an uptrend and shorting in a downtrend. Now, if we take a look at eBay, you can see at this point in time, price starts to shift trend, right? You can see when price ends up breaking this demand zone right here, now we see a shift in trend. And when we see that shift in trend, we can now start to say price is in a downtrend. And when price is in a downtrend, we can then start to look for shorts in supply zones. And you can see at this point in time, when price starts coming back down, we can draw out all of our demand zones. You can see price just goes right through them, because at this point, price is now in a downtrend. And so if price is in a downtrend, you only want to be looking to get in short positions, right? So you can see how price comes right up to the supply zone and then immediately dumps right through demand. We zoom out a little more, we can see price comes down to this supply zone up here. A little bit easier to see on a weekly chart. If you draw it out like this, just like that, comes up to this weekly supply. If I extend it out here, and we end up dipping right back down to a weekly demand zone, right? And so if you're adding trend into your strategy, and by simply understanding is price making higher highs or higher lows on multiple time frames, you're going to be able to stick to a lot more winners in your trading and not have as many losses. Now, I want to show you another example on AMD, right? If you look at AMD and we zoom out more so on the weekly chart, you can see for a lot of this time, price was in an uptrend, okay? Price went up, came back down. We never really hit this demand zone back here, but price kept going up and up and up. And at this point in time, anytime you were to buy in a demand zone, you simply would have made money, okay? And every time you tried to short in a supply zone, you probably would have lost money because price just kept on ripping. And then it got to a point where we have this demand zone down here. Price actually went through it. And so when price goes through that demand zone, we now have a shift in trend. And because we have a shift in trend, we want to start looking for shorts, okay? You want to start buying puts at supply. And so we can see very clearly that price is making a lower low, a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And this pattern continues. And you can see, again, very clearly, when price comes right up to the supply zone, it holds, and we end up going lower. And if you were trying to buy down here at this demand zone, we do get a little bit of a bounce, right? It is supply and demand. However, we end up just dumping right after it. And so, yes, of course, you could look at this and say, this is a very good demand zone. Why would I not want to buy at it? Yes, we are in a downtrend, but I still want to take advantage of this, little move upward. There's still scalp opportunity. But if you want to have the best winning percentage, the best risk rewards, overall the best strategy and the best chance of success, you want to go with the higher time frame trend. And doing that is going to allow you to make a lot more money in your trades. Now, if we can see AMD recently, prices started to shift trend, right? It wasn't until we started seeing higher highs and higher lows where price is now in an uptrend. And here, this is where you want to start looking for longs at supply. Now, obviously at this point, right, you wouldn't have known that was happening. For example, we draw out this supply zone out here, just like this. We're still in a downtrend at this point when price is coming up to it. And you may be telling yourself, Jordan, if I'm shorting at this zone here, I would have got stopped out. And yes, you would have got stopped out. But that's the thing with trading, right? We're not here to predict every single high and every single low. We're here to take advantage of the opportunities that come right in front of us. And so, yes, you may have gotten stopped out at this point here, but you would have realized if price is now above supply, price is starting to make higher highs and higher lows, there's a very good opportunity to buy down here at this demand zone. And you can see price wicked right into it, and we had a massive move out of it. If you were to get in right at that demand zone, put your stop right at the lows, target the high here, that would have been a 3.5R trade. And if you held all the way up to the top, that would have been close to a 9R trade. Very solid trade. This only happened in about 4 to 5 weeks. Very simple swing trading you can do whether you have a job, no matter what it is. Extremely easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of your time. And this is simply something that works because I've done it for multiple years. Now, there is one other thing I want to go over, okay? And that is going to be volume. Volume is so crucial when it comes to trading, okay? Let me show you an example on Airbnb. So, volume is one of those confirmations I use along with my supply and demand strategy. So, yes, you want to look at supply and demand. Yes, you want to look at trend. The last thing you want to look at is volume. Okay, this is the key thing that actually really took my strategy to the next level. If we're looking at Airbnb, zoom out here. Let me go ahead and show you an example of a very good volume spike. So, if you look at Airbnb, price is in an uptrend. So we got that on lock, right? We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We also have a really solid demand zone right here, okay? Price comes down, we form a base, we have a very fast move higher, very strong demand zone right here. Now, if I zoom out and extend this demand zone out, you'll be able to see price comes right back into this demand zone and then bounces higher. Now, yes, if I was simply using supply and demand and trend, this trade would have worked out. I would have bought here, sold up here at supply, made a really nice profit. But if you want to add your winning percentage and increase that slightly, just so you can have a much better edge in the market, you're going to want to look at volume. Now, what do I actually look at when it comes to trading volume? Well, with volume, you really want to look for increased volume when price comes into that supply or demand zone, okay? Now, the volume that happens while that supply or demand zone is being formed doesn't really matter all that much, okay? What matters is that what the volume is when price comes into that zone. So if we go over here, we look at Airbnb, you can see price comes down, and we're just looking at an hourly chart. You could do it on a 30-minute, 4-hour. It works on all time frames, right? We look at this 1-hour chart. Let me zoom in here. You can see price gets a beautiful bounce right into this demand zone. Okay, so when it comes to volume, this is the most important thing. If we look at Airbnb, when price comes into this volume, into this demand zone, we see a huge increase in volume. Now, I'm not looking at the specific amount of shares that are traded. I'm not counting out how many shares were traded this day or in this candle, right? It simply comes down to relative volume, okay? And you can simply do this by looking at the past data and see what essentially happened. What is the volume typically like? And what is the volume like as price approaches demand? You can see here, we have a massive, massive volume spike right into demand. And by understanding this, we can say, okay, if we have a huge spike into demand, this probably means institutions or hedge funds or whoever it is loading up a lot of shares at that demand zone, which means there's a very good chance that demand zone is going to be defended, which again gives us a much better opportunity of making money and buying here. So if you look at Airbnb on an hourly chart, we have not seen a volume candle spike this high for the past since earnings, which was over 2 months ago. Okay. Now, if you're able to understand this and add this as a confirmation into your strategy of saying, I'm only going to trade supply and demand zones that have much increased volume, when price comes down into it, you're going to see a much higher chance of success and a much higher win rate. And you can see price immediately gaps back up and we come up all the way up to 128. A very, very solid profit. If you're getting in right here, setting your stop at the lows, targeting the highs, it's a really solid 5-hour trade. Now, you may also be saying, Jordan, I can't be getting in right at demand because I need to see how the volume forms. How is that going to work? Extremely, extremely simple. All you need to do is just wait an hour or whatever time frame you're looking at. If it's 30 minutes, you want to wait 30 minutes. If it's a daily candle, you want to wait a day and just see what happens at the next candle. Okay. So we see here, price comes down. We have the increased volume. We're in an uptrend and we have a nice demand zone. Now, obviously, we don't want to get in right as price touches demand because we want to wait for this candle to close to see if we actually have that increased volume or not. And so what you can do is just wait for the next candle to appear and say, does price move higher? Does price move lower? And in this candle, or in this case, price ends up spiking right higher after it. That shows us that there is a strong intention of buyers and that we want to be getting into this trade. So for this example here, let's say you get in right as price after this candle forms. Maybe you wait one more candle to show you that confirmation that price is now moving up and out of your demand zone. You can get in long, set your stop right at the low instead of the low of demand zone. So you're getting a better risk reward, you're getting better confirmation of entry, and you can still risk all the way up to the higher time frame targets. So in this case, it would be all the way up at 125. Maybe you could target a little bit lower because we do have a supply zone all the way up here, just like this. And either way, with this trade, you're ending up walking away with about a 3.5-hour trade. Very, very simple. This is a trade you can do where you get in here, you set your stop, you set your target, and then for the next 2 weeks, you just let the trade do its thing. And then 2 weeks, you check your phone, you get the alert that your broker is hit, the trade was executed, and you end up making money. It doesn't take any other work than that. It's very simple, very set and forget. And I know for sure after using this for multiple years, this strategy works. And if you use it, you can make a lot of money trading as well. If you found this video helpful, you're probably going to find my free training helpful as well. I'll leave that in the description below. It's the exact 3-phase system I use in my trading. If you want to learn more about it, link is going to be in the description for you. Now, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below other videos I should make. I'll catch you guys in the next one.